mother, she's from Honduras. She was born and raised in Tegucigalpa, which is the capital. And my father, he is Palestinian. He was born in the city of Bethlehem, in the West Bank. And as far as, I guess, my family, well, I was raised by mainly my mother. And so I guess you could say I have a large Hispanic influence within my cultural background, but at the same time, my father was there. So I guess there was a good mixture of both. I like to call it the best of both worlds in ways. My cultural background seemed to be kind of the highlight of who I was, and it wasn't my Hispanic side. I mean, sure, my name is Pablo, and I mean, ask anyone who sees me at first glance, says, "Oh yeah, he's Hispanic," but all of a sudden, that got put on the back burner, and it's Pablo, the Palestinian. He's Arab, and I mean, with that, especially like in a school setting, it had a lot of, I guess, little jokes that came along, especially given the climate at the time, as far as what was going on. It's regular stuff, or being called a terrorist on a regular day. I mean, I'll wear a T-shirt with a Palestinian flag, and I'll have someone say, "Oh, you're a suicide bomber's cousin or something," things of that. But I mean, again, they don't happen often, and when they do happen, it's mainly on behalf of somebody who probably isn't the sharpest knife in the drawer. I mean, but again, just the fact like that happens. I mean, those are the people who are ignorant enough to speak their mind, you know. So there are smarter people who keep their mouth shut, but they still have it in their head. So I mean, I feel like it'll be a long time before any of that subsides, in the same way that, I mean, black people still face a huge amount of injustices. I mean, if you've read the news, there's a killing of a 17-year-old kid, and the shooter wasn't even let free. He didn't even get cuffed. He didn't even get questioned. So I mean, I feel like in general, our country has a lot of steps to take towards before we get to the point where we can really say that there is no racial tension, no racism that exists in our country, in our society.
My family and I are from Bangladesh. My entire family was born there, and we came here in about 1996. I have 2 older sisters and a younger brother. Yes, I have, because I grew up in a predominantly Greek neighborhood, and since I was one of the very few South Asian kids that went to school over there, it was very common to have, you know, kids call you names, or, you know, just because you didn't fit in, because, you know, you weren't the same color, you weren't the same background. I think it's very important. First of all, one of our basic principles is cultural awareness. We have brothers from all sorts of backgrounds and countries and races. I feel like it's very important because it's living by one of our principles, you know, and the fact that you guys are having an event like this shows not only diversity in the fraternity, it shows diversity in the campus that you guys are having an event on. I think it's a wonderful idea. I think, you know, if anything, I'll take that idea and bring it back to my colony. We'll have an event, something like this, because my LB, my captain, he's Bengali as well. So I think it's very important, not only for the fraternity, for the school, and for the whole community that you guys are based in.
So my family is 100% Egyptian. Both my parents were born, raised, married, and educated in Egypt. And upon getting married, they moved here to unite with my 2 uncles who also moved here. And so my dad is the youngest of 6 siblings, and then the 3 men in the family all moved here to the U.S. and into Minnesota. So me, my older brother, and my little brother were all born here in Minnesota too. So a lot, and I think that's why this is such a great event, and it points out some of these things. Like I said, I grew up in a area that was primarily a minority type of background, and you know, everybody was of some different type of culture, which was amazing. But for some reason, after 9/11, it was like anybody that was Arab, Muslim was sort of isolated and made fun of. There's a lot of racism. I mean, me and my brothers were constantly called like terrorists and Osama, even by our close friends, and it was in a joking fashion, but at the same time, it definitely, you know, had its effects on us. But also there was a lot of people that supported us and said, you know, if this is happening to you, please let us know and we'll do what we can. But at the same time, I mean, as a young kid, you have too much pride to want to tell on people and say this is happening, and you kind of want to take it into your own hands, and you know, it's pretty difficult. I think of it as a turning point in this country. I think it changed a lot of how people looked at other people, how this country treated other countries. And it kind of put the religion of Islam on the map as a violent religion, which is really the opposite of what it believes in. So I think it established some stereotypes that aren't necessarily true, but I think it also brought the country closer, but isolated a few different ethnic backgrounds and religions too.
Both of my parents are Palestinian. My dad was born in Palestine, and my mom was actually born in Venezuela, South America. My mom's side of the family are all born and raised in Venezuela. However, their grandparents are Palestinian, and I guess the way that kind of worked out is it was kind of more of like an arranged marriage. My dad and mom are related in a sense, so that's how they ended up meeting. Not quite, because ASU is so big, so I never really experienced racism other than like when I'd see like the Jewish club. They're out here like trying to get people to join the Jewish club, and they have this thing on campus where they go, "Are you an AS Jew?" Instead of ASU, "Are you an AS Jew?" And I tell them, "No, actually I'm Muslim." And they're all, "Oh, well, that doesn't work." And then they just turn around. So like, it's not really racism towards me directly, but in a sense they kind of, they make it known. Or there's people on campus with signs talking about like how to be a good Christian and stuff like that, and I'll walk up and engage in the conversation just to be like, "Hey, I'm Muslim, so like, what's your thoughts on that?" And the only thing they can say good about Muslims is that we know how to control our women. And like, in our sense, like, even though people think like Muslims do control our women, like, they don't see the more side of that we're a loving type of religion. And then the first thing people start saying, "Well, how about 9/11? How about this?" And it's just, there's never really racism directly, but there's clubs on campus that are afraid to talk about it. You're not on the same level as everyone else. That's for sure. Anyone that doesn't agree with that is crazy in my views, because we are discriminated without a doubt, and freedom of religion and freedom of speech and all that is normal for everybody else. But when it comes to some of those, when it comes to South Asians and Arabs, it's different. You got to watch what you say, and sometimes I can't even speak Arabic because my parents don't want me to speak Arabic in airports. So it's rough, and hopefully it gets better.